So how do you meditate? Now, first thing I want to show this, there is a connection between words of your mouth and meditation. That's why it tells us in Psalm 19 and verse 14, it says, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. So the first thing is that let the words of my mouth. Joshua 1:8 says, this book of the law shall not depart out of your mouth, but you shall meditate. Now, meditate therefore is to mutter, which is to speak, and the second word is to imagine. And what your heart does is that your heart imagines. So when you go into prayer and God shows you something, now you just write it down and build your confession as a fact of your life. So if God showed that person, I've engraven thee upon the palms of my hands, your walls are continuously before me, your children shall make haste, and they that made the way. So the person writes it down as a confession and begins to declare it as a present reality within their lives. Now you must understand that your spiritual part manifests first with words. Where there are no words, there is no spirituality. The Bible says, if you see a man that seems to be religious and doesn't bridle his tongue, that man's religion is vain. The first lesson any person learns about spirituality is the words that proceed out of your mouth. You cannot rise above the words that you speak. You cannot become something that you have not yet said. Your prayers cannot reverse the effect of your words. They can only fulfill what you are saying. Your words is your first contact with your future. In other words, any future that you will enter into, your first contact with it is going to be with words that you are saying. That's why Jesus said in 11:23, he said, whosoever shall say to this mountain, be thou removed and cast in the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, but believe what? Believe that what they are saying will come to pass. He will have whatsoever he says. In other words, that person's future is coming from their words. What are they going to have in their future? What they are saying. What do they believe? They believe what they are saying is going to come to pass. So you start saying these things as present reality within your life. Then you enter into the place of imagining those things that you are saying. You will see that it tells us in Genesis chapter 8 and verse 21, God smelled the sweet smell and said is that I will no longer curse the ground anymore for his sake, for the imagination of man's heart. So the man's heart imagines things. So it begins to imagine. That this is the two contacts you make with the future. One with words, the second is imagination. Now in meditation, therefore, what you want to find out is this. This is exactly where I am. What I am imagining is over there. Now meditation is to produce the insights there that will make me, which means what is the